Hello, it's the broadcasting station of Ingenuity Marketing here with Wendy Nimitz and Virginia McCoy. Today we're going to talk about how your brand supports recruiting and retention. But first, there's a weather report from St. Paul. It's not snowing in Minnesota today, so everything is excellent. I just want to tell you that I'm Wendy Nimitz, the founder of Ingenuity Marketing Group, and I'll be talking a little bit about recruiting. But who you really want to hear from is Virginia McCoy. Do you want to tell them a few things about you, Virginia?
Absolutely. I am a communications consultant with Ingenuity, and besides all of the fun writing and content I get to put together, I also have a keen interest in search engine optimization, so SEO, helping people find your website, and social media, so helping people share their lives on social media and learn more about their firm.
Virginia is quite the expert on social media, and she goes out to lots of firms to help them really use that as a business tool as opposed to just using it to put out a few Facebook posts or something. This is our team, and I think most of you know what Ingenuity Marketing does. We provide professional service firms with full marketing solutions, from outsourced marketing directors to new websites and brands. We are working with professional service organizations all day, every day. So first of all, we want to ask you a poll because I think this webinar is about the marriage between HR and marketing. And some of you might work very happily together, and others of you might not work together at all to do really great recruiting in this terrifically competitive and more competitive environment. What you need to do is really have HR and marketing work seamlessly together. So we're asking you a question about how that looks in your firm, just so we can get the zeitgeist of the people listening today. And by the way, if you have any questions, type them into the chat box. And if you're having any audio problems, which means you can't hear me, but oh well, I'll put it out there anyway, just type it into the chat box, and we will try to catch it, and we'll send someone out to call you and help you. So include your phone number. So the poll is still open. It's opening. And Melissa has 5 more seconds before she closes the poll. 3, 2, 1, close. Let's see the results of the poll. For the people out in listening land, you can see the results right here, which is 50% of the people listening today are HR professionals. It looks like 17% are marketing, 17% are both, and 17% are neither. Well, I'll tell you that HR has traditionally been people who are great with people and with processes, getting people plugged into the right position. Marketing people have traditionally been people who are great with persuasion, persuading people to buy their ideas, their thoughts, or their services. And so really, recruiting now is going to take both of those talents in order to be awesome. And I want to advance to the next slide, and I want to just talk to you very briefly about recruiting. Because like sales, recruiting takes 2 different stages. Stage 1 is the marketing stage, where people find out more about your firm, about the opportunity at your firm. And most of that comes online. Virtually anyone who actually would not check out your website before they came in for a job interview is not someone that you could actually hire, because it means they're stupid. The second part of the process is the sales process, and that's when someone has contacted you for a job, has submitted a resume, or come in through a recruiter. And that's another intensively important part of the recruiting process, because that's where they actually have an experience with their firm and they meet you face to face. Now, either one of these stages can fail. In marketing, they can say, well, I'm a little unhappy in my job. I'm going to see what else is out there. And because you have no search engine optimization on your website, because your website is ugly and boring, because your careers page is just meh compared to the competition, you might fail in stage 1, so they don't call you. In stage 2, you might fail because you have someone interviewing them who's not exciting. I took a couple of girls on college tours when my daughter was considering college. She had a couple of friends whose families weren't doing that. And I noticed that the girls would love the college until they met a really boring tour guide and had a boring tour, and then suddenly the college was stupid. Now, if you think that's because they're 18-year-old girls, you're not correct. Yes, they were 18-year-old girls, but we make decisions emotionally, and we'll talk more about that in just a minute. We're going to talk first about your big brand. And I think that a lot of the firms, when we first work with them, they have a logo and they have some colors, but they don't really have a brand. A brand is everything that makes a promise of how you are to work with. So there's lots of words associated with the brand. Some of the things that we think of for brand minimums. In other words, if you have a whole brand, you have a lot more than a logo. First of all, and this is hard for so many of our clients, they have a decent name. If your name is A, G, C, P, and Q, nobody can remember it. So it's a headwind on you all the time. You also have some key messages about what your promises are as an experience. You have a tagline, which is usually either emotional, like just do it, or explanatory, like we serve the upper Midwest geotechnical needs, something like that. A logo, your fonts, colors, and visual library, and then the ability to share it with everyone. You don't have a brand if everyone in your firm doesn't understand it and is able to talk about it. So that's what you have for a big brand, a major brand. And Virginia's going to move over and start talking about your talent brand.
Yes, so first of all, we are going to start with a poll. So what benefits do you offer to recruit and retain employees? So think about all of the reasons why your employees either came to you or stay with you. And we're going to have some options up. Our poll is open. We're going to give you a few minutes to fill that. Well, not a few minutes. This is a pretty short webinar.
Yeah, 25 minutes.
It's a webinar. To answer this, hopefully this isn't a horribly hard question to answer. So it should just take you a click or two. We have a few in the lead. This is a very close race, guys. This is exciting to watch. And we'll just leave it open for a couple more seconds. Oh, wow. The tables are turning. This is exciting. Give everybody a chance to think about how people come to you and why they stay with you. And we are closed. Okay, so we see that 29% said a decent salary and benefits. 29% said paid time off. 14% said flexible scheduling. 21% said 1 to 2 items above. And 71%, which is great, all of the above and much more. So I'm glad to see the majority said that because this is because the options listed are things that they expect. So you need to be going above and beyond in some way for your candidates.
Benefits really aren't enough, are they? They're just sort of the baseline, like you have good benefits and some flexibility, and people say, yeah, well, okay, everyone does.
Exactly. So next we're going to be talking about the talent brand minimum. So when we think of a talent brand, we're thinking what about your brand is attracting those candidates. So we have personas for top recruits. So who are you trying to recruit? Without something like personas in mind, you're just trying to attract everybody, and everybody isn't a good fit for your firm. We also have key messages. So how are you going to, or what are you giving them? What should they expect when they're working with you? What really differentiates you from your competition? A logo, it doesn't have to be drastically different from your existing logo, but maybe something that stands out in the marketplace. And then brands stretch your fonts, colors, and visual library. It is so important to have photos and videos to demonstrate your culture and really get that point across. And then share it with everyone. So not only internally, but externally. You have these great options through social media to be sharing your talent brand. So be sure to use that. And next we're going to be talking about some of the results you could get by having a strong talent brand. So we have here attract more of the talent you need. So by doing so, you're attracting candidates with your talent brand promise and showing how you're outstanding. So you're getting those candidates to come to you. Next we have keep the talent you want. So they know what they're getting into when they're going to your firm, and they can see themselves there. So it's really easy for them to make the decision to stay. Next up, more quickly, hire the talent you need. They're making an easy choice. It's not difficult to choose between these firms, especially when one has a strong talent brand that really shows exactly what they want and what you're going to give them. Enjoy a lower cost per hire. You're hiring the right people and filtering candidates who aren't a fit automatically by having a strong talent brand. And how you perform as a company. Studies show that strong talent brands see an increase in stock performance. By having the right people in the right seats, they can really feel invested in the firm and give it their best.
You know, Virginia, one thing I feel sorry for if I was an HR manager, if the company had not done what it had to do to just develop the company brand, because if they have to go out there and sort of make up the promises of why you should work at our company, it's just really tough for them because that's what most people have to do. But when a firm actually organizes their brand so that the HR and marketing together can work on the talent brand and what it looks like and what the stories are and what the messages are, it's just so much easier to do the job. It's like they're expected to pull magical things out of a hat. And I think the big mistake most people make is they don't realize that people are making an emotional decision when they come to work. They're not coming because you're $1 more than your competitor. They're coming because they think this will be a good job with great people and a good company to work for. That all comes from your gut, not from your head. And really, emotions make our decisions. They are the context around what many of things that we think are logical or we explain away. It's really coming from our gut, and there's lots of science on this.
Okay, so we have some examples. We wanted to show some examples of some poor talent brand. Of course, we did not want to embarrass any of those in our industry. So no AEC firms or accounting firms were harmed in the making of these examples. But first off, we went for the dental industry. I'm sorry if there are any dental professionals. I like my dentist a lot, which is fortunate. But we picked on their websites a bit. So the first example we have is outdated. And outdated to me means outdated equipment, which means, ouch, my mouth. How am I ever going to heal from this? And it also just doesn't fit with the logo. If you notice at the top left-hand corner, there's a photo of a bridge, which is completely accurate because it's a Bridge Creek Dental. However, it doesn't fit with the rest of their website, so there's a real disconnection there. And the example with this website is that your professional service firm website could be making the same, taped together impression on your website.
Again, it's emotional decision making. We're studying this. We can see brain science. People don't buy Coke over Pepsi because Coke is brown and it comes in bottles or cans. They buy Coke because it's the real thing or because there's cute polar bears sliding on their bellies over glaciers. When people choose a brand, just like choosing a company to work for, the part of their brain that lights up is the emotional part.
Yeah, so for our next website, first of all, it starts out with welcome to our website, which is great. I'm glad that they did welcome them. However,
if it's 2004.
Yeah, exactly. It's also very dark and dreary, and by landing on the website page, you can't immediately tell what it is except for maybe the toothbrush in the back of the logo. However, overall, from a recruiting standpoint, this wouldn't be the most up-to-date, welcoming place that I could picture myself at.
Come on, Virginia. It looks like the vampires in those teenage romance novels grew up and became dentists. What problem have you got with that? It really is about the emotional decision-making. We have all these values and emotions all stored in the limbic system of the brain, the mammal system of the brain, and it really helps decide whether we'll go here or there. And if your firm consistently presents itself really warmly, really family, and then you say you really care about families and balance, people will believe you. But if they take a tour of your facility and there's not a single picture of children on anyone's desks and everyone's wearing gray and nobody looks up and smiles, they're not going to believe you.
So for our last example, I realize this is a lab. I just want to clarify, I realize this is not a dentist. But still, from a recruiting standpoint, this homepage, first of all, is very copy heavy, which is a turn off right away because you're thinking, oh, I'm already overwhelmed by the fact that I have to find a new place, but now I have all of this stuff to read. Plus, it's very dark and dreary, like the last website, which could be a trend in dental websites, but I hope not, because when I think of dark, I think of just cavities and then the pain that comes with them.
Abscesses. It's not the right color scheme for happy dentists. You know, the funniest part about the research we've been doing on emotional decision making is we've met a lot of people who absolutely insist that everything be a bullet point in their text, and we can only write, for example, we offer this service, that service, this service, that service. And we have found that the more rigidly people, furiously insist that they make logical decisions, the more truthfully they're really making emotional decisions. For the last one.
Yeah, so for our last one, we actually liked this dental website. So first of all, it starts out, you can relax at Kringle Dental. Well, that's perfect, because that's exactly what I want to do when I go to the dentist. I want to be able to relax as much as possible.
I love this site.
I know, and it's that message that they're getting across right away. It's that message that not every dentist would say, but they're differentiating themselves by this message. Plus, it's also welcoming. It's clean, which I would love to associate with the dentist, and it's up to date. Perfect. So we have some examples now. We're not picking on
a good winner.
Exactly. I just want to clarify. We're not picking on the Freed Maxic Careers website.
They have a wonderful careers website, and most of the larger CPA firms now have either extensive careers pages or its own website, and I'm sure the AEC industry will be there in less than 2 years.
Exactly. Yeah, so we wanted to just show, first of all, one great example of a careers website, and having that separate career site that you can really showcase all of the great reasons that these candidates should come to you. We have another example. This isn't in the AEC industry particularly, but this is the world's largest oil field services company. We realized that this website was recently updated. However, honestly, we're not big fans of this.
Well, actually, if you go back to the Freed Maxic website, really similar colors on Freed Maxic, and then you flip over to the Schlumberger website, you can see that the graphic designer who did Freed Maxic was better than the graphic designer that did Schlumberger, and that is an emotional judgment on my part that will affect people when they go to the careers website.
Absolutely. And then while Primera does not have a separate careers website, they do have a pretty great careers page. It really shows why it's so much fun to work there, and shows really what it's the culture of the firm, which is a big point to get across. Next up, we have a video from BuzzFeed. Now, we realized that BuzzFeed is not in the professional services world. However, we wanted to talk a little bit about, going outside of your firm and finding content to share that really shows off the culture, as in we really understand how funny our industry can be. We get picked on for maybe being a little bit boring, but then we turn it around and really make it great. Next up, we have HGA's Facebook page. We wanted to show some social media pages that really were great examples of showing the culture, and social media accounts that if a recruit were going to your page, they would say, oh, they're doing a lot of stuff. This is great. It looks like I could be really involved here. I could maybe move up quickly. I have a lot of options here.
Everyone goes to your Facebook page. If your Facebook page is non-existent, hasn't been filled in since 2009, you just look terrible. Facebook is mission critical for recruiting.
Yes. So we also have Instagram. So we have Witham here, and this is another great example. It's so great to see firms going outside of even the Facebook box and going towards ones like Instagram, because they can be also great, especially for those who are recruiting those coming out of college, because Instagram has such a large following.
It's a place, yep.
Exactly. Then we have Sullivan Day. They have a fantastic Twitter presence, and we wanted to share that because, it just shows that you don't have to just show what you do at the office every day. It's showing all of the fun that they're having while they're doing their job.
National Burger Day.
Exactly.
Oh, Blandon Associates is a wonderful CPA firm out of Kansas. And, Nebraska, sorry. The thing about Bland is they're anything but. their name is almost a joke because they are vibrant, interesting, and not at all afraid to break with tradition. As a matter of fact, they have a series of Star Wars-like videos on their website that really showcase the joy that they have in work. And as a matter of fact, their managing partner and I were speaking recently, and I said to him, you know, how do you know it's working? And he said, well, I don't have a recruiting problem. He dismissed that in one sentence because they are really able to not only have some cool videos, but to really express who they are on the internet. It's easy for them to get people.
Next up, we have the AET website. This is a recently redone website, but it's fantastic. It's easy to navigate. It's done really well, and the reason we know that
is because Virginia did it. The reason we know it's working is the numbers. And this is what's great about the internet is you can justify the granted much larger spends you have to spend to have good online marketing now and good online recruiting. But you can go to the principals and partners of the firm and say, hey, look what happened because we made this investment. And then they can really start to trust you that you know what you're doing.
Next up, we have a post from Weinstein Spira. Now, this is an example of the marketing and HR team working together to find new recruits. And they did a fantastic job. They do a fantastic job on social media. But one of the things they do, which we gave an example of, is post to specific universities to show that they're showing up. And that really is a great opportunity for candidates to say, oh, I wonder where they're going to be next week, or I wonder when they're coming to our school next. That's a great opportunity. Plus, it also shows through Facebook, by using Facebook, it shows any experienced professionals that they are looking for new hires. So it's a great opportunity for them as well.
I love this. Hello, University of Houston. It's just so personalized toward one place. And if any place has the worst recruiting problems in America, I would vote Houston up in the top few cities that is the hardest to recruit great professionals. So they are really working it. As a matter of fact, they measured the campaign, and they noticed that candidates' GPAs average out higher than they used to be when they started really using their talent brand and focusing on really good online marketing. Now, one thing we want to ask you is, because we have the shortened version of the webinars, is anyone have any questions? I know we've given you a lot of information, but we really want you to talk to your firms and say, hey, I need all the information about our brand, and I need to reorganize that. I need to really consider some, getting maybe some help with some very persuasive messages and imagery and videos and online marketing so that I can do the best job I can to get good candidates in front of you. It's a really tough job. It's probably tougher now for many of our clients than it ever was before the recession, and that's saying a lot. And so having a brand and having a talent brand organized that's consistently, joyously displaying what's the differentiators for your firms, what's the advantages and the joy of working at your firms, you absolutely have to have this in order to get candidates, both young or experienced. Now, one thing we would like to invite you to do is to follow us on social media. Virginia is the face of social media for Ingenuity Marketing, if anyone's following us now. You can follow us on most of the major social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And if you have any specific questions, both Virginia and I would be very glad to either talk to you on the phone or to respond to email. And we'd be glad to tell you everything we know or think we know about branding, about talent brands, and about trying to get the competitive edge you need to be able to succeed for your firm. We'd like to thank you for your attention today and on one of our speed webinars, and invite you to join our next one, which we will, of course, be sending you information about fairly shortly through email. And I don't see any questions, so I think it is time to wind up the webinar. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.